30 seconds to introduce.
I'd like to ask the Minister, the Taoiseach and the Minister for Defence the details of the planned increase in defence spending for 2019 in all areas, the details of the increased plan to deal with issues of pay and conditions for the Defence Forces. Minister, 2 minutes.
The total gross provision of the defence sector for 2019 is 1.00 million, which an increase of over 60 million, or 6.4 on the 2018 provision. This comprises of 758 million for 436 defence, an increase of over 50 million, and 249 million for 435 army pensions, an increase of 10 million. Overall, approximately 77% of the defence sector provision relates to pay and pensions. The 2019 provision for pay in Vote 36 is in some €529 million, and this provides for pay and allowances of over 10,400 public service employees, including 9,500 PDF force personnel, 550 civilian employees, 355 civilian employee servants. The Government has ensured that full funding has been provided for 2019 for the target strength for the PDF of 9,500. Pays continue to increase in accordance with public sector pay agreements. Following on from increases paid under the Lansdowne Road Agreement, further increases were paid in 2018 under the Public Sector Stability Agreement 2018 and 2020, with additional increases due in 2019. The allocation includes €6.3 million to meet additional commitments for 2019, further increases of the pay schedule for 2020. In accordance with the provisions of the Public Service Stability Agreement 2018-2020, the Government has tasked the Public Service Pay Commission with conducting a more comprehensive examination of recruitment and retention challenges in the Defence Force sector. The work of the Commission is ongoing. The Government will give due consideration to the findings and recommendations that arise from work of the Commission. The non-pay allocation, including capital for 2019 for 436, is €229 million, and this provides for essential and ongoing Defence Forces standing and operational costs, as well as provision of essential procurement and upgrading of defensive equipment and infrastructure. The non-pay allocation of increased €31 million over the 2018 level.
In the official report, Deputy Kenny.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, it's probably not an exaggeration to say that there is a major crisis going on in our Defence Forces in relation to pay and retention and conditions, and the crisis of lower morale, non-recognition of army personnel in relation to PD4, and large numbers of Defence Forces leaving Defence Forces. Even in my area that I represent, Dublin Midwest, there's many my constituents that are in the Defence Forces that are very, the morale is extremely low, and I think it's probably quite incredible that in September of last year, which many deputies in this House joined the Defence Forces in protesting in relation to pay and conditions in the Defence Forces at this time, and I think it's indicative that Defence Forces retired or serving have to protest against your department. Not only that, but also Defence Forces are bringing your department to court in relation to the basic Working Pay Act. So that's quite incredible. It's quite indicative of what your department is doing to the Defence Forces at the moment.
Minister, 1 minute.
Deputy, I answered a question earlier, and I'll outline again the gross average earnings of members of the Defence Forces for 2018. Let me state that this is the average earnings, but let me also state that the Public Service Pay Commission was established to provide objective advice to Government in relation to public service remuneration policy. In 2017, under my direction, the Department of Defence brought issues of recruitment and retention in the Defence Forces to the attention of the Public Service Pay Commission, and as a result of that initiative, the Public Service Pay Commission is now beginning an in-depth, advanced-based examination of these issues. And let me say, the enlisted personnel that you spoke about, and these are average earning in 2018. A 3-star private is on €37,529, a corporal €41,076, a sergeant €44,622, CQMS 49,605, BQMS 53,606 and Sergeant Major 54,817. The Department of Defence has provided data, has requested to the Public Service Pay Commission for the consideration, and these data were sourced by Civil and Military Working Group. And the Commission's work is ongoing, and I am aware that the Commission has surveyed certain members of the Defence Force and interviewed them and had face-to-face time with members of the Defence Force.
Final supplementary.
Regarding paying conditions.
Yeah, Minister, I don't think that's the reality that faces, people are in Defence Forces at the moment, and they will tell you, to your face, or tell it to, members of this House. And I mean, if 20% of Defence Forces are applying for FIS, there's something seriously wrong. And this is kind of emanates and mirrors the public service itself across the board. And I mean, some of the stats are quite incredible, that on average Defence Forces personnel are working 64 hours per week. Now, that to me, that's almost unsustainable mentally or physically. Yet Army personnel are meant to carry out this kind of work for quite a kind of low wage. So this issue is not going to go away, and you have to address it through paying conditions, and also recognising the union that represents rank and file Army PD4, and that's essential to all this, is that Army personnel need to be recognised as a union, because they're just as important as any worker in society.
Final question, 1 minute, please.
Let me say that there has been salary increases from the 1st of January last year to the 1st of October, further increases this year on the Public Service Stability Agreement programme. And what I've said here is, like, I'm not making up these figures here. These are figures, gross average earnings in 2018. I've highlighted the work of the Public Service Pay Commission. I've taken your concerns on board, and I've acknowledged your concerns that they are challenges for us within the Department of Defence Forces regarding pay and conditions. I have stated that publicly, privately, over the last number of months. But it is now entirely up to the Pay Commission to look at the data that the civil and military management have submitted to the Pay Commission. I want to give them time and space. As I stated, Deputy Chambers, earlier, that I'm hopeful and would like that the people who put the submission together would have an opportunity to address the Pay Commission. But that is entirely up to the Pay Commission.
Number 9.
That is not entirely up to me. That is entirely up to the Pay Commission.
Question.